The Sony A7V and the Canon R6 Mark III both just released. The Canon got the 7K and open gate, so pretty obvious choice on which one you should buy, right? Let's talk about it. And before the comments start blowing up on this video, I just want to say this before we start anything. Both of these cameras are incredible hybrid camera options. And as Gerald Undone put it, there are no bad cameras. Cameras have been solved. Now let's actually get into the comparison. The price difference between these two cameras is only $100, with one being $2,800 and one being $2,900. They both fit perfectly in this in-between hybrid camera price range. Let's talk about image quality. With the Sony A7V, you're getting only 4K, which could be a disappointment to some people. For me personally, I only ever use 4K. I'm not going to be using 6K or anything higher than that, but I know for some people in their workflow, 6K would have been really nice. And it would have been nice to kind of see Sony put in that effort of kind of giving us the option of a higher video resolution, but for some reason they didn't. But the 4K is from oversampled 7K. It's using a 33 megapixel sensor. One thing that is new is that you're getting 4K 60 frames, and you have the ability to go in the settings and enable 4K angle of view priority, which will give you basically uncropped 4K 60, which the A7 IV couldn't do. There is a slight caveat that this does turn off the in-camera noise reduction, but there's not really any super big changes to the image quality when you put it in angle of view priority mode to get that full frame 4K 60. They also added in 4K 120, which is not in the A7 IV, but that does have a crop. It's using a 33 megapixel sensor, but it is a different sensor than what is in the A7 IV. It's using the new Bionz XR2 that includes the AI chip plus the other two separate chips that used to be in the old sensor. This is going to give you extremely faster readout speeds, which cuts the rolling shutter almost in half from the A7 IV being pretty jello-y. The A7 V is going to perform so much better with rolling shutter. You're going to get way better heat dissipation methods. There was a little bit of some overheating with the A7 IV, but that is way better in the A7 V. You also get a ton more battery life because of this new processing chip. And what I think is so cool is that they added in that AI chip that's in some of the newer Sony cameras. That was one of the reasons I switched from the A7 IV to the A7C II, was to get that AI chip, and honestly the autofocus and everything just feels faster with that new chip. So in the A7 V, with that combined new processing Bionz XR2 with the AI chip, is just going to give you faster and more efficient speeds all around. In photo mode, you can get up to 30 frames per second burst photos blackout free, which is super cool. It also enables pre-capture, and you can even go in and change some of those settings to be like 1 second and below. But as far as overall image quality with the A7 V, you're getting solid, really high quality 4K from oversampled 7K. But if you're looking for the most resolution possible, the Canon does have 7K, and it also has open gate. I won't even get started on the whole open gate debate that is online. You have your own opinions. I'm sure you will leave them in the comments down below. If you need open gate in your camera, the Canon has it, the Sony doesn't. So if that's your buying decision point right there, you can choose. Just go ahead and choose. But let's just keep moving. With the Canon in photo mode, you're getting 12 frames per second with the mechanical shutter and 40 frames per second with the electronic shutter. Plus, it also has that cool pre-capture feature. Now, the sensor in the Canon R6 Mark III is actually the same sensor that's in the Canon C50, which is why you're getting all of these awesome video capabilities like the 7K RAW and the open gate. This really is an unbelievably powerful sensor for a camera in this price range. And hey, while we're talking about these cameras, let me know in the comments down below if you're planning to pick up either one of these models, or if you've got another camera in mind. Let's talk stabilization. For the Sony, it actually has upgraded image stabilization that's 7.5 stops now. Whereas with the Canon, they're saying that theirs has 8.5 stops. Now, this is gonna totally depend on which system that you shoot with. I have shot on Canon and Sony, but watching some of the review videos of the Canon R6 Mark III, the image stabilization has so many wobbles in the corners that I personally just think it looks horrible. So this is one of those instances where they should have just pulled a Canon C50 and not put IBIS in the R6 Mark III if they weren't going to really improve how the IBIS looks. Again, whole nother debate for another time. There are workarounds. You can punch in, you can use you know, wider lenses, whatever the workarounds are. I personally just think that Sony stabilization just looks better. And with the A7V, since it has the new 7.5 stops of image stabilization, instead of just having the standard and the active stabilization, they added in dynamic active stabilization. So, in point, they both have IBIS. Yay! IBIS. This is one of those moments where, like, doing these camera comparisons and reviews and, like, you know, what camera to buy videos, I kind of feel like Gerald Undone at this point. Like, every camera is good, just buy one. Like, just pick one. Like, if you have all Canon lenses, buy the new R6 Mark III that has like some of the new like upgraded little things. If you have Sony lenses, buy the new A7V if it fits in like your workflow. And, you know, like, if you're just getting started, see which one of the specs kind of meets your needs, which system you think you will like best, and that's what you should invest in. All cameras are good. Nikon just came out with a solid camera, the ZR, that's in this same price range. You've got this new Canon, new Sony. Lumix cameras are really getting good. Just buy a camera. Anyway, let's keep going. With the new A7V, it also has the really cool, I think it's from the Alpha 1 line, the little cool tilty, multi-angle-y screen. I wish they would put this in all of the Sony cameras because it looks so useful. It looks like it transforms, which is also cool, but you can literally get it into whatever angle you would need. Huge plus for Sony on that. The dynamic range on both of these cameras is incredible. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but with the Canon, you have a dual base ISO of 800 and 6400, and with the Sony A7V, it's not technically a traditional dual native base ISO, but it's actually a dual gain output feature, but basically it is a dual base ISO of 800 and 8000. Which I like that idea of 8000 kind of being in a little bit of a different range than some of the other Sony cameras. It's not quite, you know, the 12,800 you would get with like the FX3, but it's also not as low as like 3200. It's a lot more of a workable range. But the point is that both of these cameras have that dual feature and they have excellent dynamic range. Now, let's talk about should you upgrade from the Sony A7 IV to the A7V. It honestly depends on your needs, but here are some of the main differences going from the 4 to the 5. You've got that new partially stacked sensor with the AI chip, which improves rolling shutter, it improves the heat dissipation, it improves the battery life, it improves the autofocus. You've got the blackout free shooting, the pre-capture. There honestly is a lot of little upgrades between the 4 and the 5, and I honestly think it would be worth it to upgrade. Now, let's talk about upgrading from the Canon R6 Mark II to the Mark III. First of all, you're jumping from a different sensor. You've got that 24 megapixel sensor in the R6 Mark II, and then you've got that C50 33 megapixel sensor, 32.5, in the R6 Mark III. In the Mark III, you've got that 7K, whereas in the Mark II, you just have that 6K oversampled 4K. In the Mark III, you also get C-Log 2 and C-Log 3, whereas in the old Mark II, you only got C-Log 3. There's slightly improved IBIS in the Mark III, as well as kind of bringing in more of those video features since it does have that C50 sensor. They did this by adding 4-channel audio, the tally lamp, the waveform monitor, and other little features like that. So, all in all, both of these cameras are incredible hybrid options with really similar price points. And like I was saying, there are so many good choices for cameras now. It literally comes down to just what do you want to buy? What are your needs? What are you shooting? What kind of lenses do you already own? Are you willing to switch systems? No one really talks about kind of the pain, the money, and all of the changeover that happens just to switch your whole entire camera system. If you're already invested in Canon, then just upgrade to the latest Canon model and get those little new features. Don't worry about that one feature that the Sony has that your Canon doesn't. That's probably not worth switching your entire system. But you do you. If you want to switch your whole system, go for it. I think the A7V and the R6 Mark III are excellent camera options, and to me, it's just so cool what they're able to put in cameras nowadays. The features, the technology, the AI processing is really incredible if you just actually sit down and think about it. I just had to make an entire camera review video pointing out like the smallest differences between models of cameras because technology is that good. Anyway, I'm curious to know your thoughts on these new cameras, so go leave your comments down below. And if you like this video, be sure to check out some of my other gear review videos right over here, especially if you're thinking about buying like an FX2, the C50, the Nikon ZR. Be sure to check out some of these videos in this playlist.